I know that we hear this said a lot about certain games these days, but I for one am loving this era of indie developers who look at the classic Zelda formula and think, hey, I think I can provide a pretty cool spin on that. You know the type of indie titles I'm talking about. The kind that centre on a lone hero, often take place from an overhead perspective, and place focus on setting you off through many dungeon-like areas on a mission to save the world, or sometimes even yourself. It's clear that the modern creators who grew up with this type of experience want to make their own mark on this adventurous format, and us PlayStation fans get to reap the benefits. Get it? Because of the game in today's video? Never mind. The likes of Hob, Hyper Light Drifter, and even 3D Dot Game Heroes are all proof that there's plenty of creativity to be mined from these reinventions of the classic genre. And today sees another particularly special entry come to PlayStation 4 and 5. Hi everyone, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and in case you weren't already aware, the utterly excellent Death's Door is available to play and download now on PlayStation 4 and 5. And after already playing it on other platforms, I wanted to take some time in this video to explain exactly why I think you need to play it. The thing that will hit you instantly after loading up Death's Door is just how wildly evocative it is. Set in a mysterious world inhabited by reaping crows, whose job it is to help the souls of fallen folk carry over, you play as one of them, just going about your day-to-day business until, on this occasion, a thief sweeps in and steals your assigned soul right from under you. This acts as the catalyst to a modest but still sweeping adventure, setting you on a quest to get that soul back for fear of passing into the afterlife yourself. I won't say too much more about Death's Door's story for fear of spoilers, but just know going in that there's a lot more to it than this simple premise. The reason why your assigned soul was stolen is explained extremely early on, widening up your quest even further. With the narrative excellently set up, you're soon free to explore this diorama-like world full of dangerous monsters and treacherous beasts that want nothing more than to make your job hell. You'll visit a good mix of dungeon-like areas in this 10 or so hour journey, all of which vary slightly in style and tone, depending on the type of boss you're on your way to defeat. Those giant souls won't reap themselves after all. And true, while most of the environments might be teeming with hostiles, you'll also come across a few friendly characters like Steadhone the Gravedigger or Pothead, to name just a few of my favourites. Such oddball characters add further texture to these mystical lands and help break up the action, as they offer hints and riddles useful for making better sense of it all. I also ultimately came to appreciate the brief moments of levity these characters provide, after intentionally being surrounded by so much death elsewhere. There's a chance that Death's Door would have been equally as great without such a detailed, incredibly distinct feeling world, but it's clear that the two-person developer team at Acid Nerve took the time to make it feel like a grounded place, despite having you play as an anthropomorphic crow with a scythe to grind. Speaking of which, even the mundanity found in the Reaping Commission headquarters, otherwise known as the hub area you'll constantly visit to buy upgrades and gain access to overworld shortcuts, has been made to look firmly bureaucratic. It adds to this sense that this is just another day on the job for your crow, and that's an idea I haven't seen explored much, especially in a game of this style. Of course, such well-realised characters and world building would mean nothing were it not for Death's Door's excellent combat. Perhaps best described as simple but effective, it's yet another example of how much can be done with very little, as all you're afforded at the start are basic sword and bow and arrow attacks. Even then, however, you already feel like you're capable, slashing away at ent-like threats or keeping back creatures at bay by sicking an arrow into their back. Plus, when things do eventually get challenging, Death's Door manages to always keep it fair by gifting you a dodge maneuver, which helps leave the decision to know when to stay in or get out of combat scenarios entirely up to you. You're eventually gifted with a handful of more special abilities the further on you progress, but it says a lot that Acid Nerve was still able to make you feel so empowered so early on in the adventure. That is until even more enemies with even wilder attack patterns are eventually introduced, and of course, when the bosses put you to the real test. The bosses in Death's Door feel like real events, always towering over your little crow with their punishing attacks and immense size. The game doesn't waste time in introducing them to you either, giving you a taste of what's to come even before the opening title appears through 2 challenging bouts. You eventually learn that these are just the warm-up acts until you face the main trio, all of whom are expertly primed to test your abilities gained up until that point, especially once they realise that you've come for them. Death's Door differs from Acid Nerve's last game, Titan Souls though, in that you get to emotionally connect with them prior to the fight. It might be time for them to pass on, hence why you've come to collect, but that doesn't mean that the likes of the Frog King or Urnwitch necessarily want to. Rarely in a humble top-down action game like this do you ever get to undertake a boss battle with such deep context heading in, and all this from an indie title. Lastly, it should go without saying, but Death's Door deserves your time simply because of how unanimous its critics, including us here at Push Square, are in agreeing how special it is. Acid Nerve's game is already being hailed as one of the best games of the year, not just in the indie scene, even if it hasn't quite managed to penetrate the cultural zeitgeist or mainstream as much as, say, something like Hades did last year. It's a simple fact that, despite there being so many games coming out towards the end of the year, Death's Door is still more than worth a look, at least in my opinion. It won't take too much of your time, and may potentially tempt you to alter what your top 5 or top 10 games of 2021 might end up being. Alongside the likes of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy and Hot Wheels Unleashed, Death's Door is easily up there for me as being one of the biggest surprises of the year. The fact that it is now able to be enjoyed by a new audience on both PlayStation 5 and 4 is a real treat, therefore, as it can now gain a much appreciated second wind as we head into the upcoming holiday season. So there you have it guys, in terms of why I think you should play Death's Door. Maybe you've played it already, or you intend to do so now thanks to its arrival on PlayStation 4 and 5. Either way, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Then, when you've done that, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the Push Square YouTube channel for everything else PlayStation related. Until next time, thank you as ever for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.